Hey dudes, I just want to show you really simple, cheap, free, effective trick to get your clutch to grab a little bit better. If you have and this applies for all these scooter clutches, so if you have a older bike, so you can't get a replacement clutch, or your clutch is worn out, you don't have money to pay for a new one because it's slipping, what you can do, first off, I hit these with cleaner. Brake clean these pads up. Clean these pads up to get any contaminant or whatever out of here, but you can go over these lightly with the sandpaper to kind of rough them up a little bit. Don't go too crazy. Don't go too crazy with it. You just want to do it on the surface just to kind of bring back this this finish. If they're glazed over and really glossy, you can kind of break that down. So again, use brake cleaner before and after, before this goes back together. Same theory as brake shoes on a car. This one's in great shape. So also the bells, again, this one's in really good shape. This one's not too bad, but they get really glossed over. It'll be like a mirror finish. You don't want that. So what I do is, again, brake cleaner, and then I'll hit it with like a 80 grit or something a little bit heavier to kind of scuff this whole surface up. And you don't really want to just go around and around and around, because then you're effectively you're not changing the surface that much. But anyways, what you want to do, and again, this one's not glossed over. I could have grabbed one that was more glossed over, but you can kind of see it is a little bit. You want to get rid of that. You want to bring back kind of more of a rough surface. So I hit this with a heavy grit sandpaper. Don't use a grinder, don't use a Dremel. I know a lot of you guys are Dremel happy and just go to town with Dremels. Don't do that. So you don't want to throw off the balance of this belt. So clean it really well, go over it with a heavy grit sandpaper, scuff this all up. You don't need to go crazy, you just want to break down this glaze. You can kind of see it's glazed over in certain spots. Again, this one's in really good condition. I wouldn't even mess with this, but you can always make improvements. It's free. What's going to happen is when you make these surfaces, you take away that glaze. When this pad expands out, because at higher RPM, these three shoes are going to expand. These springs are going to, the centrifugal force is going to cause these springs to spread open and make contact on the inside of the bell, and it's going to grip right here to get your wheel to start moving on your scooter. So if this just keeps slipping and slipping and slipping inside this bell and it's not grabbing, you're going to have a really like soggy takeoff from the bottom. It's going to rev really high, and it's going to take a long time to engage. So that's something you can do for free. We had a guy come in, he had a spree clutch. I told him you can't buy spree clutches anymore. And I said, just go ahead and try this, explained to him how to do it. And he said it was just this night and day difference, and didn't cost him anything. It took him, 15 minutes to do. So if you've got an older bike, you can't get a clutch anymore for it. I know some of the older Arrows and Elites, you can't get that stuff for. Same with like, if you run into a Riva or a Raz, it doesn't really matter. If you have good meat, if you're not trying to go, if you don't need a performance clutch and you have good meat here on your pads and it's not damaged, a lot of times you can just pull them apart and clean them up and scuff them up and put it back together and get massive gains. So again, same theory as resurfacing flywheel on a car. And cleaning your brake pads as well on a car. So you don't want to have any contaminant on here. If you get grease, or you had your pulley on here, some grease came out, or fuel, gas got in here, you want to get rid of all that contaminant, because it's never going to, it's just going to gloss over and it's never going to work right. So just a free, quick and easy tip for guys that want to get better clutch engagement, but either can't buy a clutch, can't find a clutch, they don't make it, or you just simply don't want to spend the money and you want to make it work better. So I think this is off of Carter's Helix, but I gotta go. Phone's ringing. It's a customer.